What's happening? Get the Retro Gaming Hippie. I know I'm going to end up doing the second part of my SNES Mini Classic review sometime later this week, but today I was actually able to get out and hit a few garage sales out in the small town where I grew up. Now, this small town has like 2,000 people in it, very rural, spread out, type of place where a grocery store is like, 6, 7, 8 miles away, just really quiet. But it really amazes me by some of the stuff I find at the garage sales out there. And today was one of those days. But first, we're going to start off with last night. I was checking through Facebook Marketplace when I got off really late last night. And there was a nice little Nintendo top loader set that I came across on there that the folks were nice enough to wait until this morning for me to meet up and get it from, because I couldn't make it out there last night. So what did they have? They had it's pretty yellowed out top loader, but who cares? I have one that's much cleaner than this, but it's a great system to have. I always encourage people, if they're going to get a Nintendo, spend the extra money, get a top loader. It's not going to fail you. You'll love it. It's compact, and really, your investment's going to be solid. You turn out you don't like it, you can probably resell it for close to what you bought it for if you were smart about it. You can do the same thing with a regular Nintendo, but the top loaders are so much better for that. So they had a top loader, and they had 2 standard NES controllers. And they had 2 of my favorite controllers that you've heard about before, dog bone controllers. So now I have 4, which I'll probably keep all of them. But it did make me want to go back and look at something just to say why the 80s were so cool back then. Here's an original 1985, right? Nintendo controller. And I can't stretch it all out, but look at the size of this cord. Now, let's look at the NES Mini Classic. It's got like a third of the size of the cord, and we all know I hated that. So 1985's got it going on. 2000 whatever. Okay, Nintendo. So that was kind of interesting to compare those two things, because although I knew how much shorter those Mini Classic cords were, I never really compared them to a regular Nintendo controller like that. And it's pretty crazy how long the cord is on a Nintendo controller. I never really thought about it, but that's pretty awesome. So I snagged that up. They were asking $86, which I think was a really good deal. I ended up actually just giving them a straight 90. I thought that was easier. They were the kind of folks that do this for a living, where they have storage units and whatnot, toys and whatnot. So to me, paying a little bit more for something through them can go a long way when you leave their number with them, because now they know, hey, this person shows up when they say they're going to go to, doesn't mind paying, even maybe if it was a little bit more just to make things easier or whatnot. But there's somebody they know they can reach out to when they get more stuff. And so they took my number, and hopefully that works out down the end. Sometimes you pay for that kind of source, and I highly recommend it. It's paid off in the past for me, and hopefully it's going to pay off here. He-Man. So I made my way out to a few more garage sales a little bit further out. A couple of knick-knack things for a quarter. Rainbow Bright Sprite. Not really kind of my thing, but I guarantee you I'm going to find a home for this for somebody. It's more of like one of those little gift things to me. Somebody's like, oh, I remember that Sprite, and be like, here, you can have it. I paid a quarter for it. Enjoy. What I won't get rid of, He-Man book. It's helped me read again. As I get older, it's getting hard to read. I love the pictures. This was $1. Unfortunately, I didn't have more. I was like, man, you got any other He-Man stuff, No. Well, which is a good thing to do, and I'll get to that here with my next item as to why you should always do that. He-Man. So my last little garage sale was even a little bit further out where I grew up. I just love the country area out there. It's so peaceful and quiet. After being in war for many years, it's nice to have peace and quiet. And I'm looking around, and they had the things that make you think they had games and toys. Like there was a bin full of like 1970s Fisher-Price toys, the play sets and the little figures that weren't really my thing, and they weren't out for sale. They were just kind of off to the side. It looked like they were still going through things or putting things out. But like I tell everybody, if you go to a garage sale and you don't see what you're looking for, ask them. A lot of times people don't think about video games. No, they put them out in an attic, and they think, oh, nobody's going to want those. But so I asked Lisa, do you got any video games, toys from like the 80s that, I collect? And she's like, let me look around a little bit. And she went behind a cordoned off area and was just kind of poking around, and she had a kiddie pool there, those little 6 feet wide kiddie pools. No water, it was just full of stuff. She pulls out a 64 game. She's walking back, and I'm like, really? Conker's Bad Fur Day. Kid you not, in the middle of nowhere, one thing in a kiddie pool, she has Conker's Bad Fur Day. They were pretty sure they probably had more stuff. She wasn't sure if maybe they threw it away or more toys. But so she walks back with this, and I was like, Well, that's pretty interesting, and I'm pretty sure they probably have more. She's like, yeah, I was going to throw it out, but, if you want it, you're welcome to make an offer on it. I was like, well, this is where it gets tricky. I believe in buying things, at a price that's good for me if I want it, or possibly even trading or maybe selling it in the future. But I also believe in putting out a little bit of good faith, like I did with the folks earlier, by paying a little bit more than what they were asking, in the hopes that further on down the road, they're going to find other things, take my number, and they're going to call me. So I told her last I checked, and I really don't stay up too much unless, something I'm really looking for. It was probably a $60 to $70 game loose. Now, this has some label damage, some, cosmetics, so that's going to affect the price and whatnot. So I said, I'll give you half the value if you want. And so I ended up paying her $35 for it. I do believe, when I looked it up when I got home, is that video pricing chart was putting it around 100 loose. I really caution that, do your research behind that. It's a good baseline, but don't go on it fully. Because even on eBay, when I look at sold ones, you'll see sold ones that I think are pretty much somebody canceled that auction and it still goes to the sold. And I don't know, maybe somebody's better with eBay, but I can't differentiate between sold and completed items. So I think that can kind of vary the market a little bit when something gets completed or canceled for a price that didn't actually sell for. But nonetheless, she was like, I was going to throw it away. She's like, $35? Yeah, in a heartbeat. So tell me what you think. I mean, would you have done that, or would you have been the person that was like $2 and just walked away? It's not really my thing, man. I can still sell it again. I guess maybe I'm just not a really good capitalist. Who knows? But what a strange, weird thing to find in the middle of nowhere and inside a kiddie pool. And then she was like, I don't even know if it's work. It's been singing this thing probably for at least 10 years. And I looked at the pins. I'm like, cartridges are really solid. And so when I brought it home, I just popped it right into my 64. And guess what? It fired right up. Normally, you just clean them off with some alcohol and a Q-tip, and that will do the trick. But this thing just fired right up. Is it authentic? I didn't take off the back yet to verify that. I mean, unless they bought a fake one probably 20 years ago, which I highly doubt it. I'm sure it's authentic, but kind of a snake score. And what a strange thing to find out in the middle of nowhere. Of course, I left them my information to contact me down the road. If they find more stuff, they were like, heck yeah, man, if you're willing to give us $35 for something I was going to throw away, we'll definitely get in touch with you. So those are my little bit of finds on the one day off I really have to get out and look at stuff. And never cease to amaze me what I find. I'd love to hear your stories about some of the strangest things you guys found in places or came across. You were like, why is this here? That would be great storytelling. I think that's really why we collect it, is the thrill of the hunt and the stories that we find and the people we connect with, whether it be things that we buy or things that we sell or trade or just give. It's about making that connection with folks and then allowing them to make that connection with something that they really remember from maybe a happier time in their life or just a different time in their life. So those are things I found. Let me know what you found. And remember, I'm the Retro Gaming Hippie. I don't buy nostalgia because I am nostalgia. Amen.